Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. Yeah, this is the last talk. We should all stand up just for a minute, just to get the energy going, because you're going to want some energy for this talk. Because, yeah, we're gonna not spin. We're gonna kill the spinner, because we were promised a fast, reactive web. We were promised a future of quick loading websites and web apps. And what did we get? We got this. This is a video that a developer took using a phone that was the most popular phone sold at one of these stores. And he told people to load the website or the native app, as the case one in, search for eggs. Once you get the result, tap on the first result, and then purchase it. Get closer? Okay. And this is the result. This is painful. This is slow. This is not fun. You know, granted, it's on a mobile phone, on a little slightly underpowered, so it exaggerates things. But this is not what we want, right? The saddest thing is the fastest one of these is going to finish in just a shade under a minute, which should be right about now. And the sad thing is, you're not buying eggs. You're buying allergen-free pizza crust mix because the site search sucks. This is the world we live in. And I think it could be so much more. So before we watch the rest of this, let me explain why these are slow. Essentially, when the mobile phone reaches out to a server, the first thing the server sends back is a large payload of JavaScript, which the phone needs to first download, depending on network traffic, uncompress, parse it, execute it, keep it in memory, and then, only then does it send out, ask for data, which again, you have to wait for network conditions. You may have multiple servers. Each server might take a long time to get the data back. It just slows things down even more, especially if you have to do multiple round trips to multiple servers. And the developer who recorded this video had an idea. He's like, what if instead of using a single page application format, which these used, what if instead we put a server in between the data sources and the app and serve it the old-fashioned way using multiple HTML pages? So this time when the phone reaches out to the server uses its fast connection to get all the data and then returns HTML. With this insight, he created the app on the left. And I'm just going to hold for a second, because remember how long it takes for the other 4 to load? This is what he made. Loads instantly. As soon as the form is visible on the page, it's usable. I'm not going to be able to say what can happen because each step goes so fast. And this is HTML driven. It uses just enough JavaScript to make the experience even better. But he's finished. The user finished in 20 seconds. Isn't that amazing? Like, who thinks this is great, right? That's the website I want. That's the web I want. I want us all to build this website, this web, because I'm sick of all the rest of this. And the man, you can see the source from here, the developer who recorded this is Taylor Hunt. He inspired me with this. And he has a lot of great things about streaming HTML and all sort of wonderful things. He's got a great 5 blog post series that goes into this. But since then, I've learned more and have experimented more, and I've found a pattern that I'm pretty much using going forward, and it involves event sourcing. Now, quick question, how many of you have heard of event sourcing? Okay, not as many as I thought. So I'm going to explain event sourcing, but before I get into that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Chris May. I say I'm a Python technical coach. That's kind of what I've been for the last few years. So currently, I'm working at a company called WellSky, where I'm the senior staff Python engineer for a project. And so essentially what I try to do is really just help people enjoy writing Python more and help them level up and communicate better about it. But 10 years ago, I learned about event sourcing. It's been around Actually, I forget. I want to say since 2003. Truly, it's been stuff that's been built on since before that, but I can't remember the guy's name because I'm in front of a lot of people. Greg Young coined it, I think, in 2003. And I've been following this pattern, and I think it's so interesting, but I delayed trying it out because I knew I was too afraid to use it in an app that can go in production until I really understood it. And a year ago, I was laid off, and I thought, well, here's the perfect time to try it. And I've been surprised I was worried it was too complicated to really work with. And I find it to be so much more simpler than I expected. So with that, let me explain the difference between a normal app and an event-sourced app. To start with, let's talk about the prevailing method of working with apps. In particular, how do we save data to the database? What does the database do? The database represents the current state of the entire app. So we save data in, if you're trying to save, let's say, a shopping cart or something more, especially if you save something bigger, you're probably going to save things across multiple tables in third normal form so that you can improve data integrity and reduce duplication. Additionally, if you are, let's say, have a shopping cart app and you want a user to update or add an item to the cart, you look in the database table for that cart, load that data into memory, mutate it, save it into the database, and overwrite what was there before. This differs from what event sourcing does. Because event sourcing, if you have something that's going to change the state of the application, you save an event that represents that change to the database. And so if you want to find the current state of an item, like say a shopping cart, you load all the events that are relevant and play them in memory to build up the shopping cart or whatever it is to see what the current status is. So this is a lot of words and me messing up a little bit. So let me kind of use some pictures to kind of explain it a little bit. This is a theoretical data table that is a shopping cart application. And in this case, we have two users. One who put 3 items into their cart and checked out, and another one who added 5 users to their cart, removed 2 of them at some point, and checked out. And they look identical, except for the cart ID. With event sourcing, however, you get every interaction each user had with the shopping cart application. You can see, when they started shopping, the cart created event happened just at the same time as the first item was added. So you can see when they started, you can see how long they took them to kind of add things. You see when they remove the events and when they check out. And what's great about this is that if somebody from the business comes to you and says, we were just thinking, what if we knew what items were removed from the cart within, say, 5 minutes of checking out? Well, which way would you be able to tell? If you did it the way on the left, you'd be like, no problem. In probably about a month or 2, we can develop this feature, and going forward, you will know. With event sourcing, you can use an LLM to quickly come up with a SQL statement that will pick every single item that was removed within 5 minutes of checking out. And so one of the things I absolutely love about event sourcing is that you do not lose data. You can opt to get rid of it from time to time if you want to kind of save space, but by default, you cannot lose data. The second thing, and this is where I love this, is what if having a great reactive web app has less to do with the front end and more to do with the server side, unless of course you really want to have the front end and not the server side as you were talking about. Because with event sourcing, when you save an event to the event store, you can have event listeners that subscribe to specific kinds of events or patterns of events. So in this case, let's say that you want to have a database that represents a specific view, let's say a dashboard. And so what if you could have anytime an event comes in and that dashboard gets updated incrementally for every single event that relates to that dashboard? Or what if someone wants to get notified if somebody adds 12 items in a cart in 5 seconds or something like that? Or, in the third case, what if somebody is on a page and an event comes in that would change the HTML of that page? Well, then let's send the event or the data responsible for it to the computer. And that's what I'd like to demo now, which reminds me I didn't set this up beforehand. So let's get the server running and switch to all right. Yeah, we'll do. And in fact, I'm going to do it system-wide so that I don't have to worry about it. I did that over there, but for some reason when you plug it into something, it makes it. Okay, well, whatever. We'll just make everything bigger. So here we go. So I have this movie theater. Let's keep it small for now. That has 3 movies in it, and you can see like there are showings coming up later this evening, and so let's buy tickets. And what you see is a list, or a representation of the theater and how many tickets are sold. And what's cool is if I can copy this and let this get out of its way, maybe I can do it. There we are, and paste it onto the right. So I now have 2, independent browsers on the same page, and let's just pick like these seats here, if I can click, I don't know why. So let's like just choose like these 2. So you can see the person on the left has 2 seats out, the person on the right has 4, they overlap. So if this person purchases it, the one on the left updates. This is a reactive app. This is not using polling. This is not using WebSockets. This is using a server-sent event connection powered by Datastar, which is like HTMX, but it's almost like HTMX and Alpine combined with some additional things. And let me show you the code for that. This is the code that powers the server-sent event connection. You're shaking your head. Is it because, where's the rest of it? Exactly, exactly. So essentially what happens is when we load the HTML of the page, there is a div or a one attribute on an element that says reach out to this URL, which is the showing URL / updates. And the request comes in, and the first thing it does is it uses the Datastar framework to create a response, which is this function up here, or that goes in here. And once it starts going down the pipe to the user, we get from the database the showing information. The first thing we do is we pull from the user, because essentially we're pulling it from the database, right? So we're getting the list of all the seats that have been reserved. And we send what they call a signal down, which is essentially it's the grid on the left side that you saw that had all the circles. Those are all SVGs that are controlled by essentially like a reactive JavaScript component that has data in one element, and so that updates all the rest of the SVGs. And so what I want to do is I want to tell it, here are the reserved seats, so that you can update the display of all those circles. But if somebody has selected seats, that's kind of a different component. And so what I want to do is create a list of all, so what you won't see, but I'll have a link so you can look at the GitHub repo, is that list of reserved seats. They each have an ID that is selected and then the seat name, like A1, F5. And so the server is, through Datastar, is saying, remove any item that has one of these IDs. And that removes all the IDs, and then we sit and wait for 2 seconds, just to wait 2 seconds, grab the latest thing from the database and send it down. This isn't the best way to do it necessarily, but it's an option. It's almost like polling, but on the server side. You can set up a more reactive framework in which you can actually listen into specific ticket reserved events and have it do this. But in the 2 weeks that I had to make this talk, I wasn't able to figure this all out. But that is all the code it took to implement that screen. Next, how much time do I got? Okay, I also want to talk about the third attribute of event sourcing that I absolutely love, which is that it helps you recover from errors. And I have a demo for that as well. I guess I'll do this. Okay, so this theater has decided they're having a giveaway. What they said is they want to have they have a movie posted to give away to anybody who is who has seen at least 5 movies a month this month. And a friend of mine was really excited about it because he's seen 9 movies, and he's like, I want this poster. And so I loaded this page. This is a back end one, and I'm looking at this, and it's like, well, first off, there's a number of things about this that is wrong that I need to correct for next time I give this talk. But I see my friend has seen 9 movies, and I see somebody else has seen 50. Now, it's the 16th day of May. How can you see 50 movies at a time? There's something wrong in this code. Let me pull up PyCharm again and make this M bigger. And here is here's the area of my code that is reactive. And so you can see like everything on the left is the type of event I'm listening to, and on the right is the function that gets called whenever this type of event happens. And I notice here that like in my giveaway section, I have a function called handle ticket scan, and over here I have ticket reserved. I put the wrong event in there. Oh no. So let me change this to ticket scanned, and let me look at my database real quick if I do it this way. And so like first off, let's see, how many events do I have in here? I've got, thank you PyCharm for allowing me to look at my database. I've got 11,000 events. But you know what? This user ticket count is the database table that has all the stuff that's showing that page. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to drop this database table, because it's wrong. I've just corrected the mistake, and now I'm going to go into my my terminal and go to my event, the directory for my project, and I'm going to replay the events. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Essentially, I just went into my my project. You can't see that it says replay in blue, so just replay the events. So let me come back to PyCharm. Let me reload this. The table is back. The events weren't changed, but let's look at the page. Reload. Okay, that's better. He's only gone to 6 movies, but he bought, how many were there? 50 tickets? And just like that, if you have a bug in production, this is a much easier way to recover from it because you can correct things in time.
The other way you couldn't have recovered it was in the past and you recorded the wrong data.
Exactly. Yeah, you would have to look through logs. It would be a much harder way to figure out what happened and try to correct from that. All right, back to this. So this is the repo if you want to see it. It is not the best representation of event sourcing. I want to say that the vehicle, the code that runs the event store or event sourcing is my own thing. I wrote it in the last 2 weeks. There is a project on PyPI called event sourcing, which is like, it's been running for more than 10 years. John Bywater and other people have been maintaining it. It is enterprise class. It is amazing. I have a hard time reading its documentation, so that's why I didn't use it. But it's well worth checking out. And that's all I have for you today. But this is I'm kind of early in my exploration of event sourcing in Python. And on my blog, I have 4 out of a 5 blog series where I'm talking about event sourcing. And I suggest if this is intriguing at all, follow me because we'll learn together. Thank you very much. Yeah, questions?
Do we have time for questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Your blog posts are great. Deep dive over time. What happens in this model? Like we were talking about Backbone before, and a lot of those JavaScript frameworks have single state stores that are built around this dispatch model and all that kind of stuff around streams, but then some of them have primitives to reconnect and get caught back up.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if
Great question.
Your SSE goes away for a while, your HTTP connection gets dropped.
Datastar and HTMX. So I've used to be a big HTMX fan. I still am, but I am very intrigued by Datastar because I've only started using it in the last week because HTMX and Alpine.js, that all those seats, like let me exit out of this. Like, so let me come back to here. Let's do it this way. Yeah, these seats, like, and the interactivity. So I mean, well, I can show the HTML to anybody who cares, but like, sending data back and then telling, you know, like because the server is sending items to this page and then trying to tell Alpine.js, hey, update. See, so here's new data, was a little too much for me. So I'm like, I know that Datastar has a solution to this, so I'm going to try it. All this to say, they have, in the framework, they have an automatic reconnection. So, so yeah, if I were to shut down PyCharm, which is my server, it would keep trying and it'll have a back off. And then as soon as it can reconnect, it'll pull, the way I have it programmed, it'll automatically pull the latest reserved seats.
Does it send some kind of token that says, hey, I last talked to you 17 minutes ago, give me everything since then?
Exactly. It does say, yeah, there are a number of ways you can do it. And so like, actually, if you switch over to the network, if I can reload, so you can see here, is this the right one? This is, you can see, this is the what's coming down the pipe. And so, you know, each of these is, actually, let me think. Okay, yeah, so I'm sending, looks like I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly, because like, you know, being up on stage, it takes a little bit, but you can see like this is where it's sending just the data of saying like, wow, so now it's scrolling for me or something like that. So it's alternating in what it's doing, but like if, yeah, let's go ahead and like turn off PyCharm or my server. And you'll see like it's starting to pile up missed for whatever, you know, can't find it. And then if I restart it.
Are they in memory or local storage?
Neither. It's just HTML. All the data is in HTML. It's all server or the HTML. So the state.
Data attributes?
Yeah. So in my form element right there.
But that means if you
I
did
didn't see that coming.
if
You
you
can't.
did close the tab, then and you haven't reconnected the server, it's lost. So there's not a way to back it up to local, like back the data attributes up to local storage so that you can close the tab.
There is a way.
There's
I didn't do that because I wanted to keep it simple. But yeah, absolutely.
Can you go back to the inspector and
Oh, yeah,
show
that's what I
the
do.
first fetch that succeeded after you disconnected?
Oh yeah, sure.
And I want to see the request. I want to see if it sends something that says, hey, I've been down for this long.
I
Or
don't
maybe it's in the
actually.
URL. No, it wouldn't be in the URL.
I believe that I don't have it set to do that.
Okay.
I do know like there are options to do things. Yeah, it does not look like it, but I know that there is definitely an option to tap into it.
That's cool.
And then I did want to show you, since you were asking, so you can see here, this is all the, yeah, interesting. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you once again.